World champion, now turned actress, makes an impressive debut in her newly co-written project that's going to be premiering very soon. I'm ready to jump into this review, so let's start that right now. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. Today we're going to be reviewing the film Catch the Fair One, which is making its world premiere under the U.S. Narrative Competition category at Tribeca Film Festival 2021. You can check it out as of June 13th. That's the day we'll be releasing. I am very excited to jump into many reviews for this year's Tribeca Film Festival. But before we get started, we have to talk about the first film that I checked out, and that's this film, Catch the Fair One. And man, I gotta tell you, Reis, if you're not familiar with Reis, she is total badass. Current super lightweight champion, 3-time middleweight champion. She's the real deal. And as much as we could talk about her boxing career, she's also a really, really good person, because along with all the things that she's done in the ring, outside of the ring, in the real world, she's just a really good humanitarian. She uses her platform to really elevate and speak for the unspoken and just truly push really positive narratives out there. I could really go into this much, much deeper. I'm just going to leave it at that because I want to get into the film, but she's just a really good person. And the reason I'm bringing that up in the first place is because with somebody who dedicates so much for others, well, why would she get into the filmmaking business if it's not going to follow suit? Which makes me feel genuinely with this film that it's also just her using herself as a vessel to really tell a message. And I would not back up off of that for no reason, because unless she tells me herself that's not why, but I firmly believe that this is just another way of being able to put forth a message that needs to be told. And considering the nature of this film, I mean, it's hard for anyone to disagree. But so she plays this character named Kaylee, who is a former boxing champion who's really struggling. And you know, when you start the film off, you instantly think it's going to be some type of sports film or whatever it may be, because she's struggling. We see her sparring, looking in top shape, only to now see the reality of her living situation and probably the state of her mental. But that's all because her sister is missing, who is a vital part to her family. With her sister missing, there's a really awkward dynamic between her mother and her, but that's also because there's a key person that really makes this triangle work. So where's her sister? Well, her sister ended up being involved into a sex trafficking ring, which means that, you know, she's missing, where there's really no indication as to where she is or how do you get her back. I mean, and when you talk about sex trafficking, you know, a lot of people tend to think that, oh, this happens in third world countries. It doesn't happen in the U.S. But this film takes place in New York, which is a huge indication or eye-opener to anyone who doesn't realize, like, yes, this happens in your backyard. So she essentially goes undercover. She inserts herself into this ring because she's looking for answers to the whereabouts of her sister. She's seeking revenge. And much like, you know, Kaylee in real life, Kali in the film, she fights with just more than herself. You could just tell that she's just there in order to really, really keep, really put out a voice for the ones around her. Because at no point in this film do you see anything about this being selfish. She's truly embarking into a mission that she knows there's no return. And the biggest thing about that is that when you're talking about this subject matter, there is really no happy ending. And the character is very content with that, as you see by the events that take place in this. But, you know, look, if you got a world champion in your film, you know the choreography is on point. And it definitely is. And I wish there was a little bit more, because I'm just selfishly saying that. But by no means did it need to have that. But like the choreography, the sparring, hitting the pads and the bags. I mean, man, turn the sound up. But this film is really inspirational because this shows you how far sisterly love can go, and just the love for her family, and just how unselfish people can really be motivated as to trying to find justice and truth. There's a lot of drama in this film, but there is a ton of suspense. Like, you're at the edge of your seat, truly wondering what's next. And like, for this film to only be like an hour and a half, so much is poured into it in no time. Like, I think I looked at the timer at about the hour mark, and I thought I was well over an hour and 30 minutes. And I was just like, wow, there's a lot going on here. But I do love how the character is very undisciplined in the reckless nature of this, because like, we're not about to get no ex-boxer going to do the jobs that the cops won't do and just all of a sudden go in here and just completely break down the entire system. It's completely reckless. And the fact that, you know, the character comes off very raw and not really knowledgeable to it. We see the character make a ton of mistakes, and maybe even, you can even say, some self-doubt, although she's really motivated to go forth no matter what. So I really did appreciate that. Again, it exposes the really dangerous and harsh reality of sex trafficking. So, you know, in the narrative aspect of this, you see it for exactly what it is. And yes, folks, it's right here in your backyard. Again, very solid action. And I just think that overall, the plot here, it told a message. It told a good story. Very good performances by everybody attached. There's also some other notable people here that you may be familiar with. Kevin Dunn and Michael Drayer, who you've seen in tons of other things. I mean, Kevin Dunn is kind of legendary, shall I add. But yeah, it was a really, really good film. I really am impressed with Kaylee's performance, that I really can't wait to see what's next. I was very much impressed. And I think too, the whole objective of making this film was to expose the dangers of sex trafficking, and for the dangerous natures of it. It's not something that should just be kept a secret, or something that we should pretend doesn't exist. And I think that if this film was made to start the conversation, or to continue the conversation of it by exposing it for what it is, and also making sure people understand that it's here on our home turf, that it does that. I'm absolutely just kind of mind blown that, you know, these things happen, and it happens on a regular. It happens in plain sight, and it's a really dangerous thing. And I think that Kaylee used this to really put forth a message in her performance, and also co-writing this as well too, to bring attention to this, to bring our missing women home. And you know, for that, this is why I love film festivals, and this is why I love independent films, because things like this is what it's all about. So I really appreciated this film, and I can't wait for others to check it out. So if you are attending Tribeca, I absolutely say check this out. And if you are, you know, obviously catching this at some later point beyond the festival, obviously jump in the comments and let me know your thoughts about this film. And hopefully, you know, regardless of how you feel about the film, you take something positive out of this, because that's why I love the narrative competition category, because regardless of how good or how bad the film structure could be, they always come with a good message, and that's the only thing that matters, is being able to derive that message from out of the film. So that's my message to you all. And again, hopefully you check this out and support, and keep an eye out for Kaylee, because again, all her humanitarian work, she's always using her voice and platform for good reasons, and it's always something that I know that many can get behind. So definitely keep an eye out for her, and her next fight that should be coming up very soon as well too. But as always, folks, thank you so much for checking out my review, and I'll see you all very soon.